Hi there. My name's Harold Johnson. I'm a painter. We're in Port Townsend at the Arts and Crafts Show on the street for the Wooden Boat Festival. I'm a maritime painter. I do a lot of the boat scenes, the harbors, especially the old wooden boats, fishing boats, all over the country. I'm dressed as a pirate today as part of the celebration. I get my costume basically. It's all a matter of using your imagination, putting things together. I get old things at the Goodwill, and you can add like buttons onto an old pea coat or something, make it look like a Buccaneers sea coat. Oh, the shirt, it's actually for a pirate costume, but I got it at the Goodwill, and you have to look in the women's section though, because they think it's a blouse or something, but it's actually a, pirate shirt. And I get these pins. Those, you can get them on eBay, and then you get old leather belts, and you can get the old flintlock replicas, and you can get those on eBay. Stripy socks, and the pants are just you can cut off some old baggy pants and put some elastic on them, put them together. So it's like anything else, just use your imagination and be creative. And it's a lot of fun. It takes a while, but just put it together little by little. Back in the 60s is when I did a lot of music. Back then, of course, everybody did. And when I was in college, I belonged to a singing group and played guitar. And we'd sing every night. And I usually drove the bus. Sometimes we'd drive 400 miles a night and be in school the next morning. And sometimes I'd be sleeping in class, and the teacher would ask me a question, and I'd wake up and answer the question. So I guess I was kind of awake, but that's the way it was back then. Everybody was into music, and then we did a lot of the like hippie fairs and stuff. You'd go there, and everybody had some kind of a craft or something that they made, and that's kind of how I got started painting, and doing shows. And so it's been a lot of fun. I've been painting now over 45 years full-time, and I do all the festivals around and all the art shows, and I do a lot of the maritime shows that are in the maritime museums. And right now I have a painting I have three paintings actually in the International Society of Marine Painters show. It's called the International Waters exhibit down in Ventura County. It's the Maritime Museum there, and I won the second place for that. And they have artists from all over the world in that show, and it's really cool to see see that many artists together. My favorite artists are the Impressionists, and when I paint on location, I paint very impressionistic. It's very quick, and when I paint in the studio, I tend to just take my time and put in a lot more detail, more like the old painters before the Renaissance. But I like it a little bit loose, and I like to be able to see brush strokes and textures in the paints. And I guess one of my favorite current artists is Ned Mueller, and I worked with him 8 years in the studios, and we still keep in touch. And I actually sit for his portrait classes, so I learn a lot from him. And he's very well trained, and he actually taught at Los Angeles Art Center. My style, some people call it impressionistic, but it's also realistic in that it's representational art. You know what you're looking at, The thing is, when you're real close, it looks kind of rough, because you're seeing brush strokes and whatnot. But most paintings, when you view them at a wall distance, you see the scene, you see the image, and then when you step back farther, you see the actual design behind the painting, and that's where the strength of the painting lies, is in the composition and the design. Well, the life as an artist is kind of a gypsy life. We're on the road. I used to do a show every weekend pretty much for about 5 months straight, and then I just paint in the wintertime. And it's a good life. It's actually a lot of fun. As you travel, you get new inspiration, and it's fun to meet people at the art shows, and there's really nothing to complain about. There's no guarantees of getting rich or anything, but that don't matter. It's the only thing that matters is that you keep painting, and that you're doing what you like to do, and it's one of those things where you can do what you want without getting arrested, so it's a good life. For the young person, wanting to be an artist, I would say just go ahead and do it. You have to start somewhere. I was very fortunate. When I was 17, my friend who had taken art lessons, he got me into an art show, and I was able to sell right away. And I think that's one thing that's lacking. Kids go to art school, but they don't teach them how to sell their work. They don't teach them how to market. And if you're not selling, you're not going to keep painting. And so this main thing, just find some art shows and get your work out in front of as many people as you can, and people will buy your art, and my advice would be, don't try to make some great statement or anything with the art, but try to make things that you'd put up on your own wall, and hopefully somebody else will put it up on theirs. You do have to stay positive, and I think that one of the things that is good is just about getting feedback from people. If you're at an art show, you get a lot of people that are enthused about your work, and that's kind of what keeps you going. And I go for periods in the wintertime when I don't have that, and I don't know whether somebody's going to like the work or not, and I miss that feedback. And the winters are when you're just in their studio painting by yourself, pretty soon you start talking to yourself, and so it's the kind of thing where if you're out in front of people, they'll encourage you, and that's and of course when you sell stuff, it's always encouraging. Well, we're going to talk about this painting here. I call it Tillamook Bay. This is one of my favorite paintings, and the reason I want to talk about it is because we're at the Wooden Boat Festival, and right now this is what I paint a lot of, is the old fishing boats. They're a lot of my favorites. This painting here is like a early morning fog scene, and that's what attracted to me, the light coming through. In this painting, in the distance, you can see this little strip of water in the background, and then a high contrast area right beside it, and that brings your eye into this area. And I like that part of it, simply because as you look through the painting, this area takes you out of the painting and out to sea, and that's what maritime painting is really about. A lot of people think it's about the boats, but it's really not. It's about the water, and if you don't paint the water right, it's not going to be, the painting's not going to be right, because people who love boats, it's because they really love the water, and we are mostly made up of water, so of course people love water. This area here is my favorite of the water, simply because there's, you get the movement of the reflections, and people say, well, isn't that hard to do? But for me it's easy, because my hand shakes anyway, so it's easy for me to make these real squiggly lines, and I really enjoy painting water. This was painted, I think, 2 years ago, and the same collector that owns this painting also owns this one of La Push down below, and that's James Island out at La Push. And this was done back in the mid-'80s, but if you go out there today, it looks just the same. As a matter of fact, some of the same boats are out there. And it's the beauty of the Northwest. We got some great harbors and great, we still have old fishing boats around and old canneries. And this is the old U.S. Coast Guard boathouse here, and it's been made into a restaurant. And La Push is a real popular area now because of the movies that they make out there. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Harold Johnson, the painter, and I'm on Facebook, and I'll be posting some my pirate pictures from the festival next weekend on Facebook. And thank you very much. All right. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.